Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. Here is an interesting phenomenon, a disturbing phenomenon that I have to discuss. A few weeks ago, I made a video reviewing the horrid performances of the Bach Suites for solo cello, solo cello, you know what I mean, those things, by Anastasia Kobekina. And that album, I didn't think about it at the time particularly. I mean, I mentioned that the engineering was as horrid as the performances, but the performances were so atrocious that I didn't really give much thought to the engineering side of it. But it really was awful. It really was. It was so close, so airless, so full of percussive noises and snorting and sniffing. And I mentioned all of those things, but I let it go because I figured, okay, it's a one-off production. And these days, major labels, they don't seem to have real record producers and engineers anymore. They buy these things prepackaged. The artist pays for it, or somebody, puts together the money and they make a record. And then the label itself is simply a distributor. They don't have the in-house staff that runs around making recordings, and they don't have any longer an in-house sound or aesthetic or concept behind making recordings for domestic consumption. Everybody has their own idea of what they should be doing. So the engineering was absolutely inept. And it was by a guy named Maximilien Ciup. I think that was his name. C-I-U-P, Ciup. And it was just absolutely incompetent work. It really was. I mean, it does not deserve to see the light of day. Forget the performances, just from a technical point of view. But then I was speaking to my colleague, Christophe Hus, at Le Devoir up in Montreal, and he had encountered a recording that had sonics that was so awful, and so inept that he actually wrote a very, very controversial review, and I thought a very honest review, saying, I don't even want to talk about the performances, essentially. The sound is so bad that it doesn't deserve to exist, effectively. I mean, it just rules the recording out simply on technical terms, because we know these days what good sonics are, what good engineering ought to be. It should present a realistic sonic framework within which the artist can operate, and it shouldn't make you crazy with all of this ambient noise and craziness and whatnot. Well, that recording was this one, which took me quite a bit of time to get. I don't even know if this has been released in the U.S. yet, because it's very, very hard to find, and it took weeks to get a copy of it. I was able to download it. But this is Alexander Malofeev, who is like, one of the Russian hot things that, every few months, it seems, some new young, thing comes out of, like, usually Russia or somewhere, and everyone has an orgasm over it and, decides, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and, there's just a genius. And yeah, okay. Well, that's a whole nother phenomenon that we don't need to discuss right now. Anyway, this is a splendid program, a really splendid program. It's music by Glinka, Medtner, Rachmaninoff and Glazunov, including some major works: Medtner's Forgotten Melodies, Opus 38, Rachmaninoff's Second Piano Sonata, some really cool, sort of Glazunov short works, Glinka short works. It's a wonderful collection of worthy Russian piano music, played by an artist who I can tell you right away is one of those highly interventionist, spontaneous, people are going to get excited because it's going to sound different. Whether it's good or not, well, that we can think about. But I haven't gotten there yet. I really haven't. So this is not so much a review of the performances as of the recording. Because, well, let me just talk about one performance, the Prelude in C-sharp minor by Rachmaninoff, because we all know that piece, right? Even I played it. Believe it or not, I played it, and not too badly. I really didn't. And it's so much fun. Well, his performance is definitely different. The opening, dum, bum, bum, he does it softly, mezzo forte, let's just say. And the opening is very slow and very dreamy. And then the central section is really fast. And then he just bangs the crap out of the return of the opening. Bum, 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 boom, crash. It's like, oh, wow. So, and he, is very flexible in terms of tempo, very slow at the beginning, much quicker at the return. All of these things are a matter, of course, of your personal taste. I think it's a little overdone, but that's okay. My point is that what renders this thing just about unlistenable is the horrible sound. Microphones in the piano. I'm not kidding. All you hear is this bass thump, which is him operating the pedal. And in quiet music, particularly, it's thump, 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 thump. I mean, it actually has its own rhythm, independent of the rest of the music. And there is, of course, the usual snorting and gasping and whining and other piano mechanical noises and screeches and squeaks. And it's absolutely unlistenable. I really think so. I mean, you can listen through it. People listen to historical recordings and they manage to dredge up all kinds of details from the audio gunk in which the performance is embedded. But the fact of the matter is, it's a torment to listen to this music. And I looked at this and I was talking to Christoph about it. I got this because he said, this is just horrible. It's just incompetent. And I said, well, it turns out, same producer. There he is. It's right here. And he's not just the producer. His name is Maximilien Ciup, C-I-U-P. He's not the executive producer. That's Jack Ryan Smith. Mr. Smith, get rid of Mr. Ciup. He is an embarrassment to the industry. He really, really is. I mean, it's not a recording. It's an evisceration. He's the Joseph Mengele of record producers, this guy. It's just... It's unbelievable that a product of this level, on this label, with this atrocious quality of sonics and engineering, could be released these days. It's a disgrace that this kind of work can be released these days because the major labels, for all their majorness, their cachet, their history, their brand equity, they don't have the people, evidently, who know how to make recordings. They're just running around scarfing up productions that are done by others, and there isn't anybody there saying, wait a minute, this isn't a product that deserves to be on our label. I remember back in the days, talking to artists like Leontine Price and Arthur Rubinstein, and you saw interviews, and they took such pride in being Red Seal artists, RC Riz, or Deutsche Grammophon artists. It meant something, and they cared, and the labels had staff that cared, and they had an aesthetic and an idea behind what it meant to be on their label and what the thing should sound like. You may not have liked everything they did. There may have been issues here and there, but they cared. And there was a hierarchy and executive management that cared about artists and repertoire and engineering and sonics. And Sony had some of the best engineers in the business. They had fabulous people working for them. And what have they got now? Maximilien Ciup screwing up recordings of Russian artists. I mean, it's unbelievable. So what can I say about the performances? I'd like to be able to review them. I'm in the same position Christoph was, because the truth is it's hard to be objective or objectively subjective, whatever you think we critics do, when you're annoyed, when you're angry, when you're aggravated, when you're constantly distracted. And Malofeev, who is obviously an artist who cares deeply about what he does and has given it quite a bit of thought, really should keep giving it thought and not settle for whatever these people come up with when it's really not acceptable. So this is just disgraceful, period. I look forward to hearing more from him, but if this guy produces it, I don't know if I'm going to pay any attention at all. It's just not going to be worth my time or yours. Certainly not worth your money. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.